welcome to another D&D Stories. I am your host, TheWriter, and you probably can't see me right now because this is a backup episode and I've been putting up backups while I work on larger projects. So, it's still me, you can recognize by the voice. Most people listen to my stuff minimized anyway while they're doing Minecraft or Guild Wars or whatever. And I've been sick for the past 2 weeks, so if I start coughing or if my voice fails, that's why, because I went to visit my family in Kentucky and then came back with like an airport flu and lost my voice for 3 days and have just been struggling to get better. So I thought I would do this episode as soon as humanly possible, but if my voice fails, you'll know why. So now that I'm kind of getting up there in terms of subscribers, I passed the 3,400 mark, and we're approaching the 100th episode and all that. One of the questions that I hear more and more lately is, do I run or do I participate in D&D tabletop games or tabletop games in general online? And if so, can they join? If so, would I like to be a part of their game, and so on and so forth. And the answer has always been pretty explicitly no. And I was never really comfortable with explaining why until recently, and I figured, it's, you guys kind of deserve to know, that's, it's kind of a personal thing for me, but I've told you guys more personal stuff. I've told you about, my father, about moving to Minnesota, about the school I went to, all that fun stuff, so why not? It's not like super duper personal, but it is a set of details about me that I've thus far kept under the rug, so if you will, kind of withhold on your comments till the end and all that good stuff while I explain. This actually gets broken up into 2 stories, and there's not a whole lot to tell for either one, but these are the 2 primary reasons that I don't play D&D like over email or in a forum or in not text messages, in instant messengers or anything like that, unless I really know the person that I'm playing with, or unless I have been friends with that person for a long time, etc., etc. Why I don't pick up strangers and say hey, I know I've got 3,400 subscribers, who wants to play D&D with me online? This is what that's about. Okay, so as some of you may or may not know, I am a brony. I enjoy the My Little Pony show, and you can see, ponies on my shelf way back into all the D&D stories, and you've seen different ponies on my shelf because I would always put a different one on display now and then. And I recently got a giant big Macintosh, and I really love that because he's my favorite character, and all that. So when I was in college and had very little to do on some nights, because I'm not like a party kind of guy, I didn't really go out drinking with friends or anything, I would do writing to keep my skills sharp because I was going to be a literature teacher. And I wrote under the, pseudonym? No. Alias. The alias Aegis Shield. And I became one of the most popular pony fanfiction writers, if you will, on a site called femfiction.net. And I just wrote stuff, to keep my skills sharp, to get my ideas going. It's very hard to get noticed with original content, but if you find a niche, like ponies or like Teen Titans or whatever, we've all gone through that stage where we write fan fiction for something. But while I was going to school, I wrote really good epic fantasy stuff. It just happened to be pony. And you guys have seen my novel, Cyranox the Feared, and my friend Enzo did the audio for that, so you can actually view it on my channel if you go looking for it. I am a skilled writer, and I'm not afraid to tell people that yes, I'm an excellent writer, as I am a storyteller, so that's why you guys have been here for for 90 some odd episodes. I'm very good at expressing myself creatively. So I quickly rose to the pretty much the top of that site, however much internet points you get for that, for writing pony fan fiction. And I got to the point where I was like, well, I really enjoy pony stuff and I really enjoy tabletop games. Why don't I mush that together and run a tabletop game with pony stuff in it? So I wrote like a little blog on FimFiction, and I said, well, hey guys, I've got this D&D Stories channel on YouTube, partially to plug myself, partially to bring this to their attention. And I also have an idea for an adventure where we could use Equestria as a setting. And, you guys can make up your own ponies and be a character in this short adventure that I'm writing. And so I basically ran a contest. I said, okay guys, here's the setting, here's the story, here's the idea. Make me a character, and I will read all the entries, and the top 4 I will bring in as players, and they will get to play, like ponies and castles with me. That's what I called it, ponies and castles. It was basically OVA or D&D or something, but we called it ponies and castles because it was funny. And having the I think I was actually pretty close to 3,500 or 3,000 something there as well. 3,000 something bronies reading my writing stuff. And I ended up getting close to 100 entries. And I told them, don't roll stats, don't roll any dice, don't start laying down stats. I just want to hear your character ideas. And I made like a little sheet. It was like name, species, gender, weight, backstory, special skills, cutie mark, all that stuff that would pertain to rolling up a pony character. And I know there is a pony tabletop game or a pony RPG, I forget what it's called, but there are several of them now. But that's because the fandom has grown into this. But I said, okay, I'm going to pick, the best 4 out of all the people that follow my directions. And, I got 90 some odd entries into this contest, and maybe 2/3 of them actually followed the directions, so 1/3 of them were automatically out. And after a ton of reading and a ton of narrowing down and making little notes and stuff, I picked 4 ponies that I really liked. And the adventure was that some archaeologists had gone missing in the castle of the Twin Sisters, and that they suspected something was wrong, but they didn't want to send a huge contingency of the Royal Guard because that might panic a few people watching Celestia send the Royal Guard into Everfree Forest. So, and for those of you that don't know the pony show, this makes no sense to you. The Castle of the Twin Sisters is a ruin, and Everfree Forest is a really dangerous place that ponies aren't supposed to go into because they can't control the weather, they can't speak to the animals. That's where all the predators live, in other words. And the Castle of the Twin Sisters is significant because that's where the princesses used to live 1,000 years ago, and the princesses are basically ageless in Equestria, so that's their own lore going on. But they sent archaeologists there to check stuff out and look for artifacts and books and different things that might be, that belongs in a museum, that kind of thing. And they went missing, so they were going to send a small crack team down there to find out what happened to the archaeologists, if they were still alive, etc., etc. And that game eventually became Under Ocean Rim with Bluebarian, because this game with the ponies didn't happen. And I had the best of intentions with this, and it just became so frustrating that it basically scarred me for a while. As a DM, as a writer, my ego was through the roof because I had, like I said, almost 90, 100 entries for this. People that wanted to play with me, and that what that did to my narcissism. So I sat down at my desk and, I drew up a grid map, and, you can't really show anything over instant messenger, so they're not going to have a map in front of them, but I will, so I'll know where they are. I drew this great complicated grid map, and I filled it with enemies and traps, and I made notes on details and graphs and mosaics of Celestia and Luna holding the scales of law and justice, or order and chaos, and the sun and the moon. I made all these great pony detail things, and I basically built a small module. So it was a pony themed module, and it was roughly 25 hours worth of work, because I was going to record it and have it on Instant Messenger and have it on Skype for like roles and stuff, and then publish it as a D&D story, which I did with Blueberry and doing Under Ocean Rim. So you guys can listen to that explicitly and find out what that module eventually became. But originally it was going to be a Ponies and Castles game set in Equestria. And I picked four people that had followed my instructions, and they knew what the scenario was. It's like, well, if archaeologists have gone missing in a ruin in the Everfree Forest, you're not going to send a pony that sells candy for a living, or you're not going to sell a pony that paints houses for a living down there. You have to create an appropriate character, so that separated, people that would be going on this mission versus people that wouldn't be. And who did I end up with? I ended up with a member of the Royal Guard, I think, a white Pegasus with armor. I ended up with a photographer who specialized in spelunking. So if they were in the catacombs underneath, he was very good at climbing. He was an earth pony. He specialized in climbing, getting into cramped spaces. He was very skinny, very lithe, very like dancer, kind of graceful. It was very interesting character design. Kept a camera with him all the time. I've had a nurse who also happened to be incredibly clumsy. She took Clumsy 3, I think. It was an OVA game, now that I think about it. She took Clumsy 3, and her name was Oopsie Daisy. And she sent me this picture of a nurse pony. I think she was an earth pony as well. She sent me this picture of a nurse with her forehoof in a cast and a wrapping over one of her eyes, and I was like, oh, she's so sad looking. It's like, well, that's what she looks like after she she has an accident or whatever, but she is a registered nurse. So if they find these archaeologists and they're injured, they'll have somebody there that can help them immediately. So I picked that person. And then there was one more. I think I picked like an Indiana Jones kind of, basically a trap master kind of thing, where that pony specialized in exploring ruins, respecting ancient cultures, reading old text. Oh, she was a professor. That's what it was. She was a unicorn, a professor of the dark arts and the old readings and the a symbol reader, a trap finder, an artifact gatherer, that kind of thing. But she also taught at Canterlot University. So we've got a professor, a photographer, spelunker, a nurse, and a royal guard going down. A very interesting group of people when you think about it. But I picked them out of the 90 or 100 or so people that had put in contest entries. Like I said, the people that followed my directions and made a character that was appropriate for the story. And I said, okay, guys. And I talked with them. You guys are the winners, and I announced it and gave them congratulations and all that good stuff. And again, I was basically number 2 or number 3, one of the most popular people on this site, just because I'm an excellent writer. But I said, okay, these 4 people are my winners. Congratulations. We're gonna get together over Skype, and we're gonna build your characters. And I did that with each one of these people, and it took maybe an hour, hour and a half for each person, because you're building a character and you're building it with OVA, and none of them knew what OVA was. So I sent them to watch my OVA 101 video, and I walked them through building these people as characters and not just as numbers. So it took about an hour and a half or 2 hours for each one of them to get this down. And we cleaned them up, and we got them on nice character sheets, and some of them had like artwork, like the nurse, Oopsie Daisy. She had artwork of her character that she had done, and I was just pumped. Like I said, I basically built a module, 25 hours worth of work and mapping, and helped these people build characters, and threw a contest to pick characters, and so this was a big deal. And I talked with each one of these people. I said, okay, for the next 2 weeks of your busy schedules, when do you work? When do you have other responsibilities? When do you have stuff? I basically took down 14 days worth of schedules from each of these people, and I laid them all out on a grid, and I said, okay, when is everybody gonna be available for a long stretch of time? 5 hours, 7 hours, whatever it takes, because D&D games are long, or D&D sessions tend to be long. When is everybody gonna be free for the night? So I did that, and I found out, it's going to be Friday the blah-de-blah. I don't even remember what month of the year it was. But I found out what day. I was like, okay, guys, it's going to be on this day at this time, be there or be square, that kind of thing. And, do not be late. I will go on without you. I'm one of those, tough but fair DMs who's like, if you're going to be at my table, you damn well better be at my table, because I'll leave your ass behind. And I basically was very explicit with them. I said, hey, there's no 10 minutes late. There's no, my mom held me up. There's no, I had to, I got stuck in traffic or whatever. Just, I'm giving you 2 weeks notice. Make it happen. You're all responsible adults. Or actually, I think one of them was 17, but the others, I was like, you're all responsible adults. I'm giving you 14 days notice. Be on time. This is a one-time thing. It was a lot of work. Be on time. Be there. Be on Skype. I'll be waiting. And the day comes, and I am pumped. I've got my map in front of me, and I've got extra pencils and dice and my OVA handbook next to me, in a pop-up document. I've got Skype running, I've got the instant messenger running, I've got all my flavor text ready so I don't have to type it when everybody shows up, and all that good stuff. And I'm set for this ponies and castles game. So Oopsie Daisy, the nurse, she shows up right away. She's 10 minutes early, and then I'm like, oh great, that's a great sign. When people are given a time to show up, and they show up 10 minutes early, that's always points in my book, because that's the way I was raised. My father was retired Navy, so being on time means you're 10 minutes early. And if you're not 10 minutes early, then something's wrong. So, my bosses at my various jobs I actually got a call once because I wasn't 10 minutes early for work. They wanted to know if I was sick because I wasn't there 10 minutes early. But I digress. Oopsie Daisy shows up 10 minutes early, and she's got her character stuff ready. She's ready to go. And then the Royal Guard shows up and says, sorry, I'm running late. I'll be back in half an hour. I have to go eat dinner. And I was like, why? And he goes, well, I don't even remember the reason he gave me. It's like, well, dinner is at blah-de-blah time. It's like, you make a sandwich and come back. It's just, you knew this was going to be at this time on this day. And I even sent confirmation emails. 7 days away, 3 days away, see you tomorrow at this time, and all that stuff. Eat dinner early, you inconsiderate douchebag. And then the other two didn't show up at all. One of them came on an hour late, and wanted to know if we were still having the game. And the other one sent me a message that I don't even remember what his excuse was. It was a lame excuse. And it wasn't that he was caught in traffic and, nobody was dead, his house wasn't on fire, his internet wasn't out. It was just a really stupid... I think he basically forgot, or he was out with friends or something. I was like, dude, I gave you 2 weeks notice. Could you not make time for me? It pissed me off to no end that, and God bless, I don't even remember her real name. I just remember her pony's name. God bless Oopsie Daisy for showing some fucking initiative when these other 3 guys could not take it upon themselves to be on time for a freaking tabletop game. And I know it's just a game, and I know that, there are other things in life. There are more important things in life. Or maybe, it was the Royal Guard. Maybe in his household, everybody has to have dinner together, no ifs, ands, or buts. Or just different things like that. But I put a lot of work into this, and I threw a contest, and I picked people. All they had to do was make their own characters and show up on time, and they couldn't even do that. And I was just floored. I was pissed. And, I blasted all of them. It's like, Oopsie Daisy aside, you guys fucking suck. And, I even posted up, like, an angry blog a long time ago. I don't remember. And, again, remember, there are 3,000 people watching me on this pony fanfiction site thing. I'm not really there much anymore. I've just kind of been doing my own thing with YouTube and different things like that. The hobby has kind of passed. But I basically blasted them by name and was dropping F-bombs everywhere. And just, I put all this work into it, and you guys couldn't even bother fucking showing up. And that kind of scarred me from, like, throwing games over the internets with people I don't know, because they either don't care, or, they think their circumstances are better, or they think, it's only a game. Why are you so upset? Well, because I'm the DM and I put all the fucking work into it. That's why. Or, just different reasons. They all think they had a different good reason for not being there, but fuck you. I put 20, 25 hours of work into it, and then an hour and a half or 2 hours into helping each of you make your characters individually, and you can't even be bothered to show up, much less show up on time. So I got like a 1 for 4. I didn't actually get to do this, but I offered Oopsie Daisy if she wanted to do a like a one-on-one, a duet adventure, but that never came to fruition either. So through no fault of her own, I mean, she, God bless her, was so understanding that we couldn't throw the game without all 4 people. And, she probably, I think she said she took off work, or she canceled on a friend who she was going to go out to dinner with or something like that, because she won this contest and she wanted to be a part of this game. And God bless this poor woman. I had to tell her that we couldn't throw the game because the other 3 assholes couldn't be bothered to show up. So that's why I don't DM games online. That just kind of scarred me. And you might say, oh, that's the Brony community. No, it's not. The Brony community is wonderful, and they are a relatively harmless fandom compared to some of the others that I could name. And they're all good people. They're just the ones that I picked, 3 out of 4. Those are pretty distinctly bad odds as far as picking players. And you might say, oh, well, if you'd pick people from Gaia, or if you'd picked people from wizardsofthecoast.com, or if you'd picked people from YouTube, your watchers, that would have been better. Not really. It's still random people over the internet, and you don't know what their circumstances are. You don't know how dedicated they are. You don't know if somebody offers to go go-karting with them, will they just drop you and not leave a message or anything? I hate that. I hate relying on other people for any reason. I hate being, which is why I'm very careful with money, actually, is because I hate being in debt to anybody. You know, that's how the bills get paid at my house, is that my girlfriend, Bree, tallies them up. And then she's like, okay, here's your half. She's got that money, like, by the end of the day or by the end of the next day, because I hate when I owe somebody money, or I hate when it's out of my hands. You know, I'm kind of a control freak that way. If I have to count on other people to do something, I get upset really easily. So, again, that's just my narcissism. But if you want to do something right, you got to do it yourself. And I can't be 5 people in the same game. So counting on 4 strangers over the internet did not work out well for me, and it just left like a burning scar, especially from the brony community, because those were, you know, they're a very positive, very well-meaning community, more so than some internet groups I could name. But and, you know, that happened with the brony community. I can't imagine what would happen if I had gone to Gaia or Wizards of the Coast, or asked my YouTube commenters, hey, who wants to play D&D? You know, it's a shot in the dark, and you usually don't hit anything. So that is that horror story. And now we will go over to the other side of the curtain, when I played as a player in 2 games, actually, playing online. One of which was a forum game, and the other of which was a like a play-by-mail kind of game. The forum game ended up being like a... Or no, that wasn't me, that was somebody else. Sorry, there was only one game. The other game was somebody else's story. Second-hand D&D stories. No, I better not. I went to this site called Dark Nest, which in itself was a mistake. And those of you that know what Dark Nest is can already probably see this coming. But basically, I didn't run it. I participated in a duet game where I played as a knight, meant to escort a priestess from one side of a forest to the other to avoid like cultists, marauding orcs, you know, predators in the forest, etc., etc. Again, a large contingency would draw attention. A caravan would be too slow. I just take, you know, person A from point 1 to point 2, or whatever. Fairly basic. We were playing it over basically email or over forum messengers or whatever, and it was like a level 5 to level 8 adventure. And I had a knight or a paladin, one of the two. I think knight, because I just like the knight the knight class. It's basically a paladin with no magic, and under certain circumstances they get extra honor, and they do extra damage in duels and things like that. Basically a fighter, if fighters could do cool things without all of their feats, you know? So, halfway between a fighter and a paladin is a knight. And I said, okay, we'll get horses and we'll just do this, you know? And obviously you're going to run into something, because otherwise what's the point of the game? I ended up running into a band of marauding orcs who proceeded to steal my charge, my priestess, and take her off to a set of, like, basically Cthulhu ruins to be sacrificed. And meanwhile, I got torn off my horse and gang raped, and then left on the side of the road to just be naked there. And I guess that's better than being killed, but this guy was really, really explicit about it, like verbalizing all the threats, telling me all the squelchy sounds that my body made, and just kind of scarred me for life on this one. I guess I neglected to say I was playing as a woman, but whatever, you know, the gender doesn't really mean anything in terms of stats, but yeah, tore me off my horse, gang raped me, and like I think they left me on like bent over a street sign or tied to a fence or something. I don't know why they didn't kill me or why they didn't take me with me. Take me with them. But yeah, they used me as their like sex toy until the sun came out and then left me for dead on the roadside. And I went to like the nearest church and got new gear because they took all my armor, obviously. They took all my stuff. I went to the nearest church of my choosing. They gave me new stuff. One of them dropped like a pendant or something, so I knew I was given like a direction to go in. I was given new stuff, new armor, made sure I didn't get pregnant with half-orc babies, and just all this really nasty stuff. And I ended up finding out that it was basically like a Cthulhu cult. And like the more monsters I ran into, the more I realized that I was kind of playing with a rapey DM, like a seriously kind of like uncomfortably messed up guy. And again, stranger over the internet. So I didn't play that game all the way through because I knew there was going to be like a giant tentacle monster or something at the end that was just going to rape me some more because that's what this DM did. But not a good experience. Even as a guy playing as a woman, just, my God, not fun. And I'm not saying, how to say this delicately, I'm not saying that you can't have rape in a D&D game, because it does come up now and then, but it's never good. Because if your players are raping somebody, then, there's that mess to deal with. And if the bad guys are raping players, you're always going to land on that one person that either has a history of sexual abuse or something bad is going to rear its head as soon as that happens. So that never shows up in any of my games because I don't want to push that big red button, I don't, the history eraser button or the game ending button, yeah, that's what happens when rape happens in D&D, I've noticed, is somebody gets really fucking pissed off and the game usually falls apart. So halfway through the Cthulhu ruins / cultish grounds thing that was hidden in the forest, I was running into satyrs and frog monsters and like plague rats and all kinds of really weird stuff, most of which wanted to like sexually assault my character. I was like, okay, I'm done, thanks, bye. And just, that's, I'm all for fucking barmaids, don't get me wrong. I'm all for romance. I'm all for the monk that goes up to the other monk and they have like Olympic Village sex in the hot springs. But there's a line. There's a few lines that you don't cross. And this guy was just like seeing how extreme he can make it. And again, I know, for those of you that don't know, Dark Nest is for nude patches. It is for erotic stories from video games. It is for more adult-oriented stuff. But holy crap. Dude, this DM, my God. So, I guess you can say that I went looking for trouble and I paid for it, but, not asking for it, I could run around naked, not asking for it, is basically the mentality I took from this, and it was not a good idea. It was not a good experience. It was not something that I ever finished. I don't even know what happened to that priestess. I didn't finish. My knight lady ran away, never to return, so she probably got like tentacle raped and then sacrificed before a dark god or whatever those orcs were actually doing with her. But I just got so sickened by the end of it, of all this really rapey, gross, like, not even Lovecraftian, like he was trying to bring it across, but just like the really dark, like 80s tentacle hentai stuff that was going on. I was like, okay, I'm done. Oh, God. I can't even... God, that dredges up a lot of bad memories. But that was my experience online as a player, and yes, I could have gone somewhere else. Like I said, I could have gone to Gaia Online, I could have gone to Wizards of the Coast, I could have gone, to you guys. I guess I went looking for trouble, trying it on Dark Nest, but, such as my own mistake, such as my own, I guess I really don't have an excuse for it. So be gentle in your comments, because that's me being victimized there. So try to be kind of mature about it. So yeah, my players didn't show up on one end, and I got gang raped on the other end. So, I basically had enough for a long time, and I only run or participate in duet games with people that I really know, that I really trust, that I've been in contact with for a long time, or people that I know are reliable or aren't going to be weird. Like, I want to run a game with the guy from Tabletop Terrors. His name is Tim. I want to run a duet game with him when my voice comes back properly, because I know I'm kind of grating right now. My voice is already starting to give. But I want to do a game with him like I did with Bluebarian, like a one-on-one kind of thing with a buddy that I've seen online. Because going with strangers is not a good idea, whether you're TMing or being a player, because my God, I've been hurt too many times. It's not you, it's me. I guess that's all I have to say about that. But those two stories, that is the reason that I don't play D&D online or on Skype or anything like that. So take that as you will. And I will see you guys on the next D&D Stories. Keep gaming.